Welcome back to the Budget Gamer channel. Today we're going to be taking a look at the game Reigns, Kings and Queens. This is definitely a unique one, and if you watched the trailer on the eShop because you were actually considering getting this, you were probably about as confused as I was before I downloaded it and actually started playing it. All we really see in the eShop trailer is that couples are leaning on each other and it's supposedly fun, but we really have no idea what's going on. But in reality, the game requires a lot more than just leaning on a gaming partner. If you've ever played Civilization, Black and White, Age of Empires, or any other simulation game like that, you'll probably really quickly fall right into the gameplay of Reigns. As Reigns is basically Civilization, the turn-based card game. Instead of struggling over the minutia of where to build banks and bathhouses and how to build the best roads, in Reigns you merely have to make the choices if something is going to be done or not. Though sometimes it's not always that straightforward, as these choices of what to do, what not to do, who to catch, who to kill, who to let go, will often come to you by an invested party. Sometimes the dialogue is a little more cryptic. You'll have to read into who they are and what they represent to know what they're actually getting at. But other times it is painfully obvious and you can make the choice that you feel is best for yourself. However, this does bring us to a pretty unique dynamic of the game Reigns, as having the most of everything is definitely not the best. There are 4 categories in the game that you have to maintain a finite balance over. Those being religion, population, military, and finance. As with most Civ-type games, running out of morale or any certain resource pretty much dooms your population. Reigns throws in a bit of a twist, with maxing out a certain category being equally as dangerous. If your churches become too powerful, they will overthrow the monarchy. If your population grows too large, they'll overthrow their king. If your army gets too strong, they'll stage a coup. And if your kingdom gets too wealthy, the nobles might just stage your suicide and take the throne for themselves. As stated earlier, each of the choices that you're confronted with help determine the future of your kingdom, but they each come with certain pros and cons for certain areas. These are represented by large or small circles above each of the 4 categories, and can largely be determined by the type of request and the one requesting them. As merchants, priests, soldiers, and commoners will likely represent their own interests very well. And while balancing individual interest against kingdom resources may seem simple enough, as you learn the ins and outs of the game and your reign gets longer and longer, eventually being assassinated and spawning again, new quests and achievements will actually unlock new sets of cards. These cards representing all possible encounters that you may encounter as king or queen of your kingdom. Each of these new sets of encounter cards is generally spawned by encountering a new character. This character will have their own sets of dialogue and possibilities that is now mixed in within the deck of all of the total yes or no choices possible for your reign. Meeting an alchemist per se may benefit your soldiers and citizens at times, but will probably get on the nerves of the church. Whereas meeting a soothsayer may actually increase your finances, but will most likely step on the toes of your royal guard or creep out your people. And between all of the other random quests for finding or encountering certain items or spawning your own heir, there is the ever-present quest to meet the devil himself and undo the curse that has made you conscious through all of the lines of your lineage. Overall, Reigns, Kings and Queens is a very simple game with a general yes or no dynamic, but the character encounters in all of the card scenarios are really well developed and very entertaining. The music likewise is really well suited, and so are the graphics to the type of game that this is. But even though the questing system is able to make some intrinsically deeper gameplay that might tie a player in longer, Reigns does seem a little bit mobile and is definitely good for shorter bouts of gaming. But despite that, it is really clever and very entertaining to say the absolute least. And though I don't think I would ever sit there and marathon it, it is really easy to lose an hour into this game and not even realize it. It's definitely one that I'm really glad I got a chance to play, and I will be telling some of my closer friends about it just to see how their reactions go. But overall, because it is such a unique game, I'd have to say that if you were a fan of Civ games or any other sort of civilization builder like Age of Empires or Black and White, this may be a game that you would really enjoy. But as it does seem a little more trading card game oriented, you'll really have to end up deciding that one for yourself. Anyway, that about wraps up the review of Reigns, Kings and Queens. If you enjoyed the review or found it helpful, feel free to throw me a like, show your support. And don't forget to click that little bell icon when you subscribe to stay updated with the latest content. These videos are coming out all the time, so there's always going to be some new indie to find. And if you're interested in supporting the channel, feel free to check out our Patreon page. But anyway, this has been Budget Gamer, so as always, thanks for watching.